Hi guys, welcome back to yet another class. So today I'm going to be teaching us how to make this organza gown with Duches as the lower bodies and then exaggerated organza sleeves. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. So what I have here is the pattern paper I'm working with, and I am working with a half length of 17 inches, but I measured 17.5 because half an inch will be for joining the upper bodies to the lower bodies. Okay, and then as you can see, I've taken out 1.5 inches from the side for the back. This is half of the back and this is half of the front. So this 1.5 will be the side dart, because this dress, we're not cutting it like a bustier. It's just going to be a basic shirt pattern. So we're going to be cutting it as a basic bodice, and so this is going to be a dart on the bust area, the 1.5 inches. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out, and this dress is not going to be having a dart on the waist area for the upper bodies, but it will have a dart on the waist area for the lower bodies. Okay, that's for the skirt part. All right, so I'm going to input the shoulder measurement. The shoulder measurement for this 7.5 inches. So I'm going to be taking out the 1 inch shoulder slanting for the back and 1.5 inch shoulder slanting for the front. And so to get the armhole, you divide the bust by 6 inches and add 1.5. So bust 37 inches divided by 6 plus 1.5 will be 7.6 inches. So I'm going to be marking out 7.6 inches, and which will make this a whole of 8.6 inches. So I'm just going to transfer the 8.6 to the front. Now I can connect these two lines, and then I'll mark down the shoulder, the armhole. Okay, now for the neckline, the neckline of this dress is going to be just on the collarbone, and we're trying to make it a dress that is going to have a kind of turtleneck. So it's not like it's going to have a collar, but the collar is an updo collar. It's a bishop collar. So we're going to be having the bishop collar for this dress. And so to achieve this collar, I'm just going to be using 2.8 inches for the neckline. So I'm marking 2.8 inches for the front, for the back, and I'm going to be using half an inch for the depth of the back piece. And then for the front, I'll mark out the 2.8 as well. And then I'm going to be coming down for the I'm going to be coming back down to 3 inches for the neckline. So 3 inches for the depth for the front. Usually to get your neckline, you divide your bust measurement by 12, and so 37 inches divided by 12 will be 3 inches. Now, but instead of using 3 inches, because I want this to actually be higher than the neck bone, okay, like it's going to be, because we're trying to we're trying to get a bishop collar that is going to be around the neck. So I'm going to be using 2.8. So I'm using 2.8 on both sides. And for the back, I used half an inch as the depth, and then for the front, I used 3 inches as the depth. So I'm going to be slanting the shoulder for the front, the 1.5, and the 1 inch for the back. And now it's time to take out the armhole slanting, and for the back, I'm just going to divide the armhole into 2, and then I'm going to go in by half an inch, and I'm going to slant this half an inch to the shoulder slanting, and then I'll use my curve ruler to curve it out. So, and for the front, I'm going to go up by 3 inches, and then I'll come in by 0.35 or 0.5 as well, and do the same thing, slant it to the shoulder, and then use the curve ruler to curve the armhole. And so next I'm going to take out the measurements for the waist, and the waist measurement around the underbust and lower back is 31 inches. 31 inches for the waist, and so 31 divided by 4 will be 7.75 inches. So I have 7.75 inches. So for the bust area, because the shoulder to the bust is 11 inches. So this is where the bust is going to be, 11 inches. Okay. Now for the shoulder to the bust, we already know that when you come down here by 1.5 inch, this is going to be a bust dart. Okay. So for that, I'm going to take in the measurements and then take out the bust dart before we cut out the piece. Okay. So the bust 37 inches divided by 4 will be 9.25. Okay. I'm going to mark the same thing here. And then I'm going to connect the lines to the waistline. So for the armhole, I'm just going to connect this to the armhole like so. Okay. And then because of this shoulder, this bust dart, I am going to be coming here. I'm going to divide this place into two, come to the middle, and I will mark out the dart line. So I'm going to come out, say, by 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to connect this 1/2 inch to the armhole. Okay, so this is the dart, so that when you take out the dart, let me show you something. So that when you take out the dart, so if you're taking out the dart, of course you mark out where the bust point. So take out the bust, you mark out where the bust point is. So the bust point for this person is 4 inches. And because this dress is not a princess cut, or because we're not doing a bustier where you can cut it out completely and piece the pieces together and then sew it as a piece, because we're sewing this as a whole and just taking out the bust dart, I am going to be going out by 1 inch. Because I would not want the dart line to show exactly at the nipple, so I'm going to go out by 1 inch, and I will connect this dart line to the 1 inch. So with this now, when you want to take out the dart, so you fold in here like so, and take it here. Okay, now this is the purpose of the dart I've taken out. This is why I've taken it out, so that when you do this, it will align. But I see that it even aligns even without me taking it out. So I'm just going to cut this place out like this. So I'm taking this place out like this. So this is the bust dart line. I'm just going to go ahead and trace out and cut out the pattern. Okay, before I forget, I'm going to be adding a zip to the back of the dress. So I'm just going to add 1 inch for zip allowance. So to avoid the zip bulging out, I am going to be taking out 1/2 inch from the waist area at the zip. So from this zip, I'm going to be taking out 1/2 inch from here, and I'm going to extend it all to the bust area. So I'm just going to mark out this 1/2 inch up to half of the bust, half of the measurement, and then I'm going to slant it out. Now this method, by the time you take out the zip, it helps to reduce the bulginess at the back, especially for a dress that does not have that is not pieced together. Okay. So something else I have forgotten to add to this is the extension for the front, because of the design we are creating in the front of the dress. Now, this design I'm creating in the front of the dress is going to be like a pleat in front. Just to clarify, this is the initial front. Okay. So the design I'm creating in front I'm going to be folding in is going to be up to 3 inches. So I'm going to mark out 3 inches. This is like 6 inches when you open it. So remember, this is going to be cut on fold. So I've extended the front piece by 3 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. So when you take out the darts, these two will align and become equal, and these darts will give the bust some kind of fullness that will allow for the dress to not be looking upward. Okay, so this is what we're getting at. Okay, so let's go ahead and transfer to fabric. Okay, so the sleeve, for the sleeve of this dress, the sleeve is supposed to be like 23 inches. So I'm going to mark out 23 inches. Okay, now to get the width of your sleeve, you divide your bust by 6 and add 1.5, and we did that when we're doing our sleeve and the armhole, and we got 7.8. So I'm going to be measuring this. This will be 7.8. Okay, this is 7.8. And so next you are going to come down from to get your sleeve curve. You come down by dividing your bust. You divide your bust by 12 inches to get that one, and that will give us 3 inches. So I'm going to be adding 3. This is 3 inches here. So I'm marking at 3 inches. Okay, let me recap. To get the width of the sleeve, you divide your bust by 6 and add 1.5, and for the rest, this is 7.8 inches. That's what I got. And then to get the curving for the sleeve, you divide your bust by 12 inches, and whatever you get, that's what you come down. This is where this rectangle is rectangle is coming from. Okay, so I'm going to mark the center of this and just slant the center from one edge to the other, and then I'm going to find the middle of this slanted line, the middle here, 4 inches. I'm going to, from this middle, I am going to go up by half an inch, and from that half an inch I am going to use my curved ruler. I'm going to curve this half an inch to the top of the measurement, and then I'm going to curve it in to slant it. And I'm going to do the same thing from the original marking. I'm going to do this from the original marking. I'm going to also curve to the top of the dress, the top of the sleeve. And I'll also take, okay, this I did not come down. So this half an inch, this is it. So for the original sleeve, I'm going to come down here and mark this one too, like so. Okay, now you can also come down for a stretchy fabric. You can come down from here half an inch before you do this. But because this is not a stretchy fabric, and I'm trying to allow some space to avoid the organza shredding. Okay, that's why I'm doing this. All right, so for this now, I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. But before we do that, let's input our other measurements on the side of the dress. Okay, so this sleeve is going to be having like a cuff area, and that is up to 4 inches. So I'm going to go up by 4 inches. I'm going to go up by 4 inches and mark it. Okay, so for the round cuff, I'm going to be coming here and mark 4.5 here, that's 9 inches, and here I'm going to be marking 4 inches here. Okay, and then for the rest of the sleeve, from the shoulder to the elbow, this is around the elbow, 10.5, 11. So for the elbow, I am going to mark in 12 inches, which is 6. 12 inches divided by 2 will be 6. So I'm going to connect these lines. Then I'll connect it all the way to the end. I can add, there is space to add half 1 inch sewing allowance. So there is space for me to add allowance for this. So I'm going to be adding 1 inch sewing allowance for this part that I am cutting out. The A signifies the allowance. So I'm going to cut out this pattern. So first, and then you can indicate up. So this is the down part of the sleeve, this is the cuffling, then this place is the full length of the sleeve. And because there's no allowance here, so I'm going to be adding the allowance when I'm transferring to fabric. So first I'm going to be cutting out this, and so the markings we made. So for the markings we made, this place, the down part will be the front of the pattern, while this part, the top part, will be the back. Let me explain. So the half an inch, we went up from the middle of this slanting by half an inch upwards. That is to include the back of the sleeve, but the original marking here will be the front. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim out the back of the sleeve. So I'm just trimming it out. Okay. So when you open it like so, this is the front and this is the back. So this is the sleeve we've cut out. Now when it's time to transfer this to fabric, and when we start adding the sleeve, you understand why we have 2 different pieces for the sleeve. Okay, you're going to see that when we are transferring. So for now, so let's cut the skirt. Let's cut the skirt pattern of this, the skirt part of this dress. To cut the lower bodice, we are going to be marking out the measurements. So I need like 20 inches. So I'm going to mark out this 20 inches. So to mark out this box, I divided the largest part of her hip measurement by 4. That's the hip. So the hip is 41 inches. 41 inches divided by 4 will give us 10.5. But I'm using 11 inches here and 12 inches here. That's because 1 inch will be for the zip allowance for the back. Okay, so the measurements we took for the front part, we started by marking out the 17 inches for the upper bodice. The half length of the upper bodice was 17 inches, but I marked 17.5 because I said half an inch will be used to join the upper bodice to the lower bodice. So I'm going to do the same thing for this part. I'm going to mark out half an inch here as well. This is the half an inch we are going to use to join this lower bodice to the upper bodice. And then from this half an inch, I'm going to mark down the shoulder to the hip area. So the shoulder to the hip is 26 inches. I'm going to be marking 26 inches, 26.5 inches. So I'm going to be marking it out. So we're going to mark out the hip measurement. So 41 divided by 4 will be 10.25. I'm going to mark out the 10.25. And for this place, I'll be marking out 11.25 because 1 inch is going to be for the zip allowance. And then for the waist area, the waist is 31 inches. 31 inches divided by 4 will be 7.75. And we're going to be adding 1 inch for that, so it will give us 8.75, sorry. So I'm marking 8.75. So I'm going to connect this to these lines. Okay, and then for the down part, because this is going to be a pencil skirt, so since the hip, for the hip we have 10.25 here, I'm going to be taking 2.5 away from this measurement to give us 7.8. So I'm marking at 7.8 here. This is to give us the pencil effect. This is to give us the pencil skirt effect. Okay, so we're obviously not going to leave this thing lying straight like this. Okay, so I'm going to smoothen out the hip area. It's not supposed to be pointy. Okay, alright, so for the back, for the zip area, the same way we took out half an inch for the upper body, so we're going to take out half an inch too for the zip here, and I'm going to come down to like 4 inches to extend this half an inch. Okay, so we added 1 inch for the dart, so I'm going to be using the bust pan to take out this dart, and the bust pan is 4 inches. So for the back, I am going to come down by 4 inches as well and mark it. So this will be our dart. For the front, the same thing. I'll use the same bust pan. By the way, the bust pan here is the nipple to the nipple measurement, and for the front, I'm going to come down by say 5 inches. Okay, so these are measurements, and so for this side, on the side of this dress, I'm going to be going up by half an inch for the skirt part. This lower body is half an inch on each side, and that half an inch I'm going to be slanting it to meet the edge, one edge of the dart. the edge of the dart on this side, and I'll do the same thing here. Okay, so now we can cut out our pattern and the skirt and that out, and then transfer to fabric. This is our lower bodice pattern.